Clicking on this video. This is Sith Kills, otherwise known as Nick. Today we're going to be talking about House of the Dragon, episode 5. And yeah, man, this is another good episode. This is going to be a spoiler review, so just give you a little bit forewarning. Um, the king, in this episode, he's in dire straits. You can tell his health is really declining. But before we get into that, episode kind of starts off with Damon. He's wearing like this Sith outfit with a hood on. Kind of looks like a Sith Lord. But he stops his wife, I guess. And you don't know when you first see her enter into the show. You think this is going to be like another new character. You don't know it's Damon's wife yet. But when she gets to a certain area while she was riding, she was going on a hunt and she stumbles upon Damien. And Damon, uh, yeah, he kills her. It's she was basically in the way of his plans. He wants to marry Rhaenyra. I mean, he makes it look like an accident, so the realm doesn't know. But when she was talking, you know, she kind of figured it out as she was speaking to Damon. And it was kind of like a really cool scene how it played out. I mean, obviously it was evil, but it was very well written scene how she just ultimately figured out why he was there, which was to kill her. But that's how the episode starts off. And Rhaenyra and the king, they're gonna go see the Valerians. And I forgot what the son's name was, but it's the son of the Valerian father that's married to um, the would be or the princess that should have been. Forgot her name too, but she's a Targaryen. But they go over to their castle and basically, introduce Rhaenyra to their son. They do like this little courtship on the beach. They make a little side pact because I guess he's not interested in women, and he or she knew that, and they kind of make a little pact saying, "Hey, we'll just do our duty to the realm, but when it comes to our tastes, we'll just support each other. We'll just do what we like, basically." So they have a little side pack, and I think this is a little interesting because Rhaenyra, you know, no matter at least the last 3 episodes, we see her father just getting sicker and sicker and sicker, but she doesn't really have any concern. Like I mean, so far I haven't seen her any concern for her father whatsoever. She's more concerned about her future, but I don't know. I kind of wish they were a little bit more close. But they have this little, side pack. And then in the scene prior to like them walking on the beach, the king is talking to, the Valerian, the head of the navy, and he's trying to make sure that his son is going to be, what's going to be the succession, the line of succession. You know, if they have a child, what's his last name going to be? They make a deal where it's going to be Valerian when the baby is born. But if the baby, well, obviously, when the baby becomes king or takes charge of the realm, that his name would be under Targaryen as king. So, I guess they basically meet somewhere in the middle and compromise. And in this scene, you can see the king just deteriorating. Like his health is just getting worse and worse. And I'm just thinking in my head, I was like, this is it. This is it for the king. This is his last episode, I'm thinking. But the scene progresses, and you go to this celebration of Valerians coming to King's Landing and celebrating basically the union of Rhaenyra and the son Valerian. I gotta learn his name one of these days. But they have this little party, and they do this little awkward chicken dance at first. Um, But before they start this dance, the queen enters in as the king is speaking, I guess is some type of insult. And before this, there was a little scene when Allison was talking to her father, and her father, you kind of get a little bit more a glimpse of his character because he's just really worried about, her. He's worried about his grandchildren because he thinks that once Rhaenyra becomes queen, that ultimately there's going to be a war, and that whoever wins doesn't matter. Um, that his grandchildren is going to be in danger, like their lives might be taken from them just because they're in line of succession. And he kind of opens up her eyes. So when she enters in the banquet, she's wearing a green dress, which I guess means like wartime or something. Because there's a couple of lords talking in the background and saying, you know what the color green means? It means war. So I guess she's kind of protesting, the union and, doing it publicly. And the king, I guess, was kind of shocked as she entered and kind of, stops his speech basically. But, after that scene, they do this little dance scene where they start, kind of chicken dancing at first. But um, the boyfriend of the I guess now he would be King Valerian, the son of the Valerian. Like I said, I don't know their names yet, but I guess he's the boyfriend, and he goes up to Kristen the knight and kind of lets him know, that he knows what happened between him and Rhaenyra, and yeah, he kind of. I guess he didn't take it so well because at the end of this party scene, he beats the crap out of him to death, and he goes to the garden where he's pretty much about to kill himself, and this is at the end of the episode. And what he does, he kind of does this like Japanese warrior thing that where he was just gonna stab himself in the stomach, I guess, and the queen stops him, Allison. Now we don't know what's gonna happen because that was the end of the episode. It was kind of ending as a little cliffhanger there, but obviously she stops him from killing himself, I should say. But you know, before that, um, Damon, and this is probably the biggest part when he enters, he enters in, the King Hall. He's not even supposed to be there, I don't think, because he was banished. But he enters in like he, was, in charge basically. But during that dancing, he, dances with Rhaenyra and basically speaks in, Valerian, and Rhaenyra kind of just challenges him to take her. Why don't you take me? Take me as your wife. I'm not yet wed. Kind of daring him to do it. And the whole time, the king is just watching him like, you know, I'm like, go ahead, like I'm gonna kill my own brother, kind of, watching him kind of vibe. And then that's when, Kristen kind of goes sadistic and kills that knight. And I don't know where Damon went from there, but kind of just runs off. Um, and I guess because the king saw Damon and Rhaenyra kind of get close in that little dance scene, he, I guess, forces a secret marriage between the Valerian's son and her, and they get married. And he has a bloody nose because Kristen punched him in the nose while he was trying to protect his boyfriend, and you know he's still bleeding. And Rhaenyra is, sitting there at the, getting married with her hair kind of frizzy because she was kind of pushing around during that whole scene as well. Both of them don't want to do it, but they're just doing it because they think it's their responsibility. And then during the marriage ceremony, after it was done, you see the king fall down, and that's it for him. I mean, he's this whole episode, it's been hinting that he is about to die. So I don't think. I mean, if the next episode doesn't start with some type of funeral, I'll be pretty surprised. If he doesn't, if he's not dead already, he's definitely going to be dying next episode. Is how sick he is. So and this is episode 5 already, so I'm wondering when the new older characters are going to take, the Rhaenyra, acting role, and then also the Allison acting role, because there should be a time jump now. But I'm assuming that we're still going to have the younger Rhaenyra and Allison in the beginning of next episode, but then probably, towards the middle, switch to the older characters. So I guess we'll see. And I'm wondering how the dynamic's gonna be, because the Rhaenyra, I like this Rhaenyra. Like, she's been selling her character and making it really believable. So I kind of been enjoying seeing her evolution per se. And then the same thing with Allison, like, her character has been evolving as well. Has been, I mean, my opinion, hasn't been doing as good of a job as Rhaenyra's been doing, but I think she's been doing a decent job. And she kind of showed a different side of her, from scared to strength at the end, because kind of like that fight, flight, what is it, fight, flight, or hide, something like that. And she chose to fight at the end, and you kind of saw it. So, and she had some of her family members over at the party, and they kind of committed their loyalty to her. So you kind of see that animosity brewing on the sidelines. So things are starting to move, and especially since the king is no longer in the picture, and the marriage between Rhaenyra and the son Valerian obviously isn't like a strong marriage. They're just doing it because they think they have to. So I don't think they have a strong foundation, and they're very vulnerable to attack. And I think that if the right families get together, obviously because the high towers, you know, separation basically from the Targaryens because the father dying. So I can see it, man. It's getting interesting. I mean, like, that's one thing about, you compare Ring of Power to, House of the Dragon. I mean, like, every minute, is not being, misused. I mean, every single minute, is passing some bit of information and moving the story forward. And it's really well edited and put together as far as how the flow of the episode is. Unlike Rings and Power, is just poorly edited. But yeah, I'm in. I really enjoyed the episode. Like, all the actors did really well. Matt Smith, um, I forgot, Millie Alcock, like, she did really well as Rhaenyra. Emily Carey as Allison, I think, stepped it up in this episode. I wish we could have saw a little bit more of Matt Smith, but I did enjoy what we did get with him. I mean, he's when he did that to his wife, I mean, he looked menacing. He could pull off being a Sith Lord for sure, because he looked like a Sith Lord in the beginning of the episode. Definitely evil, but he's kind of evil, but then has a heart. He's kind of like almost Tyrion in that way, just a little bit more evil. I mean, obviously he didn't love her, but at the same time, for him to murder her just because he was married to her and he didn't want to be married to her, it's pretty sadistic, I gotta admit. So I'm wondering. I mean, obviously, because he wants to marry, Millie Alcock's character, Rhaenyra, and now since she's married, to the son Valerian, I wonder what he's gonna be doing now. Like, what's his next step? What's his next plan? Because each move he's done so far has been failing. So each time you fail, you get more desperate. So what's coming next? So I'm in. I'm in. I definitely, I would give this episode out of 10 somewhere between a 7 and 8. And it's been consistent. That's when House of Dragon has been consistently good. I've been enjoying it very much. I've been actually been meaning to do the Ring of Power review for over 3 days now, I think, or 2 days, 2 or 3 days now. And I just can't bring myself to talk about it, man. Rings of Power is so boring. But anyways, guys, that's my thoughts on it and my little review. Like I said, I enjoyed pretty much every minute. It did keep me involved and kept my attention all the way through. But yep, if you guys did like this video, if you would, please hit that like and subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and I would catch you in the next video.